In this video, I'm going to show you how to work in UK double crochets in joined rounds, which means that we stop, join, start up again. So I've worked until I've got 2 more stitches left of the round, and that's where it gets confusing because it looks like I've got a whole lot more stitches left to work, but here's the second last from the end. This is the last from the end. So what's all this? This is the slip stitch that you did before to close the round. This little legless chain here, I call him the little drunk because he's on his side and he's legless. That's your chain that you did to start the round. So this is the first real stitch, and if you look backwards you'll see that your double crochets have these little fangs that identify them. You can see it very clearly on this last one that I made. This is the stitch and these are the little fangs of the double crochet. So when we look backwards from here, we can see this one has fangs, this one has fangs, this one has fangs, but there's nothing under that one, and that's perfectly horizontal. So we're going to skip the horizontal slip stitch, we're going to skip the chain 1 that we did to start the round, and you're going to put your hook under the top 2 loops of this first stitch. Pull tight here to minimize the size of the slip stitch, and then yarn over and back through everything. So that's the horizontal slip stitch that you're going to be skipping. You can see there's a series of them. Chain 1 starts the round, that's the legless drunk. We slip to the first stitch of the round. Just because we're in it doesn't mean we ignore it now. We still have to go back into that stitch for our first double crochet, which sits right on top of that one. So if I do a couple of stitches, we can look back and see what we've done, and I really recommend everybody gives their work a real good study because we've done 4 stitches here. 1, 2, 3 and 4. There's the chain 1 that started the row. It really just leveled us up, but that was our first real stitch. You can see it with the little fangs and the top of the stitch, the lintel off to the right hand side. That's the slip stitch. So when we're working, this will be our last stitch of the round, and this is our first stitch. So there's 2 things in between that we're going to ignore: the slip stitch and the chain 1. That's the last stitch of the round and the first stitch. So we'll work that as our last stitch, and this is where we'll slip to. Quite a gap, isn't it? From there to there, but if you look, there is no gap. There's just a little tidy seam of slip stitches. That's what it looks like if you work in the round with joined rounds rather than a continuous spiral, as in the pattern for this little baby jacket that I'll link to as well. So rather nice, and the seam is minimal. So I hope you give that a go, and I hope this video helps. I get asked this so often. Hope it's clear. All right, good luck. Bye.